Hi, well, here we are once again for the sixth show, American College Cricket Live. And I'm going to have with me Yash Kandor from Carnegie Mellon. Among the things we'll discuss is that he'll give us his IPL All Star team. So let me bring on Yash, and I hope we don't have any difficulty getting him on. Let's see. He seems to be coming on fine. There he is. Give me 1 second. Let's see if we can share this before we get started.
Sure.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Good evening.
I'm good, thanks. 1 second here. So you're still in Florida, right? You're still in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
No, okay. What's the weather like today?
It's pretty good actually. It was really hot in the afternoon, but pretty good now.
All right. Okay, so what we'll do is start with well, let me just say something. We just posted the video for the South Alabama versus Ryerson game, and it was one of the best matches. I'm glad I got that on video, and of course it was shown on Sony. And it's a really good match. So if anyone out there hasn't caught it, you should. It's on our Facebook page. And the other thing is that it's been spread quite a bit. Good job, first of all, thanks to the South Alabama captain Neil Patel, as well as the team, and to the Ryerson fans. Ryerson has built up quite a fan base. So whenever they play on one of our web streams or on TV, a lot of their fans support by sharing the video and so on. So keep that up, guys, and it'll be great if our other teams build that kind of fan base. So good job, Ryerson. Yes. So go ahead and let's hear what your All-Star IPL team is.
This is probably the toughest of everything in terms of analysis and everything because there's no right answer. Everybody would have their 11. I tried to go safe with statistics on my side. It's kind of tough because you can pick like 4 foreign players and then 7 Indians. So I would go with Sunil Narine to open with KL Rahul. I mean, Narine was the MVP. You can't really keep him out. He's been really swashbuckling as an opener. And on the other end, you have KL Rahul, like aesthetic beauty. He all by himself got Kings 11 Punjab to where they were. Of course, there was a century by Chris Gale and a 50 here and there, but it was more or less just KL Rahul driving it all the way. So Narine and Rahul to open, Kane Williamson, one player that just walks into anybody's 11 for this IPL. He wasn't even sure to be in the 11 till David Warner was expected to be captaining them, and then the ball tampering saga, and then they chose Williamson to be captain, and what a choice. 735 runs over the season, amazing captainship. A couple of misses here and there, maybe, but an awesome IPL for him. Number 4, Rishabh Pant, 684 runs at a strike rate of 173. This young lad seems to have a lot in him. Failed once or twice initially when he was given an Indian jersey to play for India, but I think this might be his breakthrough. This might be the IPL that actually matures him enough. He has taken the really good bowlers apart as well. Like I still remember the last over from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. He hit him for 26 runs in that over. Still has a lot to improve, but really promising. Number 5, my favorite, it has to be MS Dhoni. An IPL which probably he did not set on fire, but he was the same MS Dhoni that we knew from like a few years back. Hitting the ball clean, very calm in the head, extraordinary with his wicket-keeping skills, and his captainship was just on point. So number 5, MS Dhoni. Number 6, this was a tough choice. Ambati Rayudu has had a phenomenal season, so has Shane Watson and stuff like that, but I would still go with Dinesh Karthik. It's always good to have a cushion. MS Dhoni is a finisher, but another finisher in Dinesh Karthik. He was just a finisher for the IPL. I think he has an average of 54 with a strike rate of 150 coming in at number 5 to bat. That's just phenomenal, the number of times he's finished the games for KKR. Number 7, Andre Russell. The man who has the firepower, be it fielding, bowling, batting, just can't keep him out. Number 8, Rashid Khan, the guy that the entire world is talking about. I was just going through the news. Afghanistan beat Bangladesh in a one-off T20 by 42 runs. And it was again Rashid Khan getting a 3 for. So this guy is just playing on another planet at this point in the form of his life. So, well,
What do
Rashid
you think?
Khan,
What's so special about his bowling? What do you
I
think?
think I think one major thing that stands out between Rashid Khan and others is just the speed at which he bowls. For a leg spinner, his arm speed as well as his ball speed is really, really high. So while he's coming into the stride when he bowls is really slow, but his arm speed is so quick that makes people very difficult to pick him off the end. And as we all know, in cricket, playing leg spinners is extremely difficult when you try to pick them off the pitch, especially when they have the really good googlies. So I think that's
Now, I
one
don't
thing.
know if you, pardon me, but I don't know if you know about these two guys from back in the day, Chandrasekhar from India and Derek Underwood from England.
Mhm.
They were spinners that bowled with some speed as well. Have you seen video of them to compare Rashid Khan to them?
I have seen Chandrasekhar. I think Chandrasekhar had a special talent, like his physical disability, which made him so special that players could not pick him. And I think the one thing that goes in credit with Rashid Khan is when Chandrasekhar or Eric Wood played, leg spinners were not as well read as they are right now. I feel like the game has evolved so much that it's people have videos and footages of Rashid Khan that they can play at like 100 different speeds trying to figure him out. But to figure him out on the pitch at that moment does require special skills. And so I feel it goes credit to Rashid Khan the way he actually carries himself in this age of technology where people can just like pick you. Ajanta Mendes is a great example. He was different, but he was successful in a couple of seasons. Third season, people picked him, and then he's seen nowhere. So that's the kind of speciality I feel Rashid Khan does have in him.
Okay, continue with your team.
So I got the 8, 9. Like I need to go with 3 seamers now, and I'm kind of done with my foreign players. So I'll have to go with the 3 Indians. Umesh Yadav, I think he was phenomenal with the new ball. RCB did not really do great as a team, but they did have individual talents, and I think Umesh Yadav with the new ball in the playoffs made sure that he always got wickets. It's just that he did not have anybody to fall back upon apart from Chehal. So Umesh Yadav 9. Number 10 is Bumrah. He did not have a great start to the IPL, but at the end he had 17 wickets at an economy rate of 6.2. That's just the class of the man. He didn't start off too great, but always made up for it because he's one of the greatest in the business. Number 11, either Siddharth Kaul or Deepak Chahar, depending on how the captain wants to use him. If you're looking for, because Umesh Yadav is in the team, I'm not sure if Chahar would come up and bowl upfront 4 overs, but if he's planning to do that, I would definitely go with Deepak Chahar with the new ball. But Siddharth Kaul has much more variations and is good at the depth. So that's my 11. I just have a special mention for this player called Lungi Sangi Ngidi. He came in late in the tournament, but I think he was the one that made the difference for CSK. It was at that point when CSK actually needed somebody who would come and bowl strong 2 overs up front and then smart 2 overs at the death because Bravo was becoming predictable and Dhoni could not bowl Bravo in the 17th and the 19th. So it was extremely important for him to step up, and he did really, really well.
So Shane Watson, despite his match-winning century in the finals, couldn't make your 11.
Yes, it was a tough one. Shane Watson was really good, but I think how good Shane Watson was, a part of it goes to the way MS Dhoni used him. Considering his fitness, I still remember the first century that Shane Watson hit was the last match he ever bowled because he did have a small hamstring niggle in that in that T20, and MS Dhoni quickly realized that Shane Watson is the batsman that I need to use. So he stopped using Shane Watson as his new ball bowler, got in Ngidi, dropped Tahir. Fine, people say Tahir was injured, whatever. There was kind of a forced change, but still, just the way these resources were managed, I feel brought the best out of Watson. It's same thing like Raidu and Watson. They got much more overs to play with. They're really good players, but just I don't know. It just didn't fit because Rahul seemed to be much better, and then Nareen, especially when you have such a strong batting lineup, you would want Nareen to go up and go all guns blazing, especially with his bowling that he offers.
Good. Now, so many things happening. Of course, India is going to be playing Afghanistan shortly. What are your thoughts on that?
India, Afghanistan. I think that's a very big thing and a good thing for Afghanistan cricket, especially for like associate nations. That's going to be one match or one, like, it's not a tournament, it's just a one-off test, but one match that everybody is looking forward to. And trust me, it's not going to be an easy one for India. And I think what the Indian selectors have done by picking a really strong team, I think it's a very full strength team that India is sending out against Afghanistan. And I think that's the way to go. Afghanistan have some really talented people. That's one thing I can say. The pitch in Bengaluru is not going to be a one that turns, because with Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi, and Mujib in the Afghanistan ranks, I don't think Indians would want to take a chance with them. They faced the issue back in 2012 with Monty Panesar and Graham Swan ripping through their lineup in Kolkata. So I don't think they would take that chance. But I still think on paper, of course, India better side. There are a lot of talks around Virat Kohli not playing. Is he putting himself above the nation and stuff like that? I don't think all of that kind of overshadowed the real magnanimity of the India-Afghanistan series for the Afghanistan team. So I think it's going to be a nice game.
Well, it's reason too. It's a pretty good one. He wanted to, considering that he playing in England the last time wasn't his best. The idea of going ahead and playing some county cricket to get accustomed to the Indian English conditions is a pretty good idea.
I totally agree. And I think teams over the past who have gone to England, South Africa, Australia and failed, they always mention the point saying, oh, we did not get enough tour games. Now, if your schedule doesn't permit you tour games and stuff like that, this is one way to do it, where if you're so good, you get picked into a county team and play for them. I think that's an excellent thing that Virat Kohli did. And he was very clear in his head. He knows what he wants to do. He's playing at a completely different level at this point and just knows his game. It's not that he doesn't consider Afghanistan as a good team, but in a bigger scheme of things, of course, the English series is a much bigger thing for Indian cricket. So I think from a very personal point of view, I think that was a very good decision. And to back that up, the Pakistan series of England that recently happened, the number of tour games and the game in Ireland that Pakistan played showed so much difference in the way they performed in the first test match. England were caught napping because they did not expect Pakistan to come like firing at them, so accurate, so disciplined. They made their mistakes in the tour games and the game against Ireland. But when they came to play...
Well, I also read that Waqar Yunus said that some of the pitches have been changed in Pakistan, and it enabled the Pakistani Pacers to get some conditions that were more like the English pitches. And so they sort of prepared better.
Yes, that's correct. That definitely helps, I think, but that's something that has been happening for a while. I remember Indians got those pitches back in Bangalore at the MRF Pace Academy before they prepare. But I think when you actually go in those conditions, you can replicate the pitches, but what about the overcast conditions? What about the wind? What about the grass? There's a lot of stuff that actually changes once you go and play in that area, and game practice is the best practice. No matter how much ever you play on those pitches, in the nets, the game practice is the real practice, and that kind of showed in the first test match.
Well, I enjoyed the cricket that they played, particularly the Lord's Test. In general, seeing crowds in the English field stadiums is a wonderful thing. I'm not a big fan of these series, which are like two matches that have no context. You can't have a definitive winner of a series and so on. So hopefully we'll have that test championship coming soon, which will put these test matches in context. And we won't have series like this where, you can't get a definitive winner and there's no context.
I agree.
Now, the ICC recently announced some measures about player behavior. As you know, we've taken strong stance on player behavior throughout American college cricket, going back to the beginning in 2009. What do you think of, some of their thoughts on player behavior?
I think that is something which is very important, extremely important. There have been so many instances of poor player behavior, like recently. I think one of the worst was the Bangladesh-Sri Lanka T20, where Bangladesh was even ready to walk off the field. These are something which are not in the spirit of the game. They call it the gentleman's game. I think that has to be played in total correct spirit. And I know it's not easy, it's the heat of the moment and stuff like that, but I always feel in ball tampering, that was a shock. I believe that ball tampering has not been addressed for so long. Ball tampering has always been happening. Everybody knows people put some sunscreen, they use it a bit, but it's the extent or the length to which that it's going now is just unreal. People have been using mint, people use sandpaper. This is something which is totally unacceptable. You can't really manipulate the entire gaming condition. So I think it was about time this happened, and these are really good measures that have been taken. They addressed another important part here was they always had penalties in place and they always had offenses in place, but the offenses were not really demarcated correctly. Like an offense for someone was not for somebody else. It's like my banter is an insult for you, for example, or your sledging is something else for me. And so a clear demarcation, a clear line where players are so sure that this is what I should not do and this is what I should do. Just like overrate, or you cannot be below these many number of overs. And I think American college cricket does amazing for this. You finish the innings in 75 minutes, you finish it. There are no two ways to it. You got to do it, you got to do it. I think that really helps player behavior, because I think there was an instance where Kagiso Rabada was kind of fired up and then he faced a lot of issues and he got banned for a test match. That guy, and people came out in support of him saying there were too many other things which were not right that were done and those players did not get banned. So there's always this scope for discussion and debate, which I think would be put to rest to an extent with the new measures. They're trying to remove ambiguity basically. One ridiculous one was the toss, and that was probably the most widely spoken about. I don't know what's your take on it. What do you think about the toss?
Oh, I definitely was in favor of keeping it. It's such an important part of the tradition of the game. And it doesn't really counter what they were saying is the unfairness of, the home advantage. I think more emphasis has to be placed on preparing pitches, which are in the interest of the game as a whole. Uh, it's crucial that test matches have proper pitches to be played on. And I don't mind whether the bowlers have an advantage sometimes or the batsmen have an advantage other times. But we've seen issues with pitches which shouldn't really be there to the extent that they have been. And, so I definitely couldn't see why you would take away the toss. It's such a part of the tradition in the game, and you can't just keep throwing out traditions and be left with nothing.
True, I totally agree. And the point about pitch doctoring, I think that's the main issue that needs to be heavily charged about, or heavily, you need to come down heavily on people who make these doctored pitches, which have so much home advantage. There are two good points I was like listening to. I don't remember who it was. So one was this: they wanted to pitch the idea of a neutral curator. I don't think that's a good idea either, because a local curator knows the ground for so many years. It has taken him years of experience to actually understand the ground, the soil. It's an art in itself to be a curator. So getting a neutral curator is not going to make really good pitches for test cricket. It might create belters or it might create rank turners, but it won't really create a very, very balanced pitch. And the other one is, if you see the quality of, like, for example, let's say you prepare green tracks in England or rank turners in India, but the quality of fast bowling and spin bowling that has grown and developed so much over a period of time in all the nations, there isn't really too much of a home advantage. England found that the hard way recently. They made green pitches. They had their own issues where they were not disciplined in the batting, threw a bat at everything, that ODI and T20 mindset in the head that cost them. But it was an excellent Pakistan fast bowling attack which cost the Lord's debacle. So even if you create like green pitches which suit your kind of play, at the end of the day, the opposition has some really, really good bowlers to exploit those conditions. Unless your batsmen are not ready, that's not to your advantage. So I think pitches is going to make a difference. Toss, surely not. But the new code of conduct and the review on it has been really good.
Wonderful. Well, we covered a good range here, Yash, and it's been great having you on again. Obviously, you bring a lot of knowledge and research to this. So thank you for coming on again, and we'll talk again soon.
Sure, sounds
So
good.
tune
It's
in,
always
everyone,
fun.
again. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's always fun. Thank you so much. I look forward to doing more.
Tune in once again at 8 o'clock on Thursday night. We do this show on Sundays and Thursday nights. Bye until next time.
Thank you.